everyone, welcome to the Knitting Den. This is episode number 182 and today is Wednesday, November 30th. Why can I never remember this? I just looked at it. My name's Denise. I'm also known as Knitting Den on Ravelry and Instagram. Welcome to everyone if you are joining us for the first time. I'm very happy you're here and sitting down with us, and welcome back to everyone else. I've been trying to record all week, and this is the first morning I've found time to do it. So I've really been eager to sit down and chat with you guys again. Try to write out lots of notes so I don't forget things. So here I am. It's Wednesday morning. I'm not sure how good the lighting is because the sun is right behind me now. Last week it was coming in at the side there because I was recording a bit later. But I'm here. I'm so happy to be here with you all. And as you can see, it's beginning to look a lot like, you guessed it, Christmas around here. And if I could have music playing without copyright problems from YouTube, I would have that song playing. It is very much beginning to look a lot like Christmas around here. I have a brand new mug. I got my candy canes on and my shirt. And yeah, a couple of you have asked me to throw out a, what's the word, challenge to my fellow podcasting friends. Get your gear on, suit up, as Barney would say, suit up, get your Christmas gear on, hat, shirt or whatever, get something Christmassy on. Doesn't have to be your PJs, although I am still in my PJs too, want to see? Yep. My llama's in pyjamas, PJs. What you did see down there as well is a splash of orange because in my coffee mug is pumpkin spice flavoured coffee. Oh, it's delicious. So I'll move that out of the way, but I had to show you the box. And then again, no Kit Kats, but I'm eating. You can see that. This is what we call a pumpkin daisy in our house. Kristen made these last week. They are like spongy, so not a cookie, almost like tiny little cakes. Or she calls them pumpkin daisies. I don't know why. They're just a pumpkin drop cookie if you want to look online for a pattern, a recipe. We throw in some chocolate chips. That's her idea. Pumpkin, a bit like muffin tops, I guess, you know, like just the top of a muffin, but they're super nice. She made them last week. I think it was just before Thanksgiving. Anyway, prattling on I am. Let's get started with the show, and let's see. We have a Ravelry group. I'm going to try and go through all of this stuff to get the proper info out for you. Got a Ravelry group, the Knitting Den podcast, if you want to check it out. Leave comments in the thread for, you know, each episode, weekly episodes. Sometimes you'll find prize drawings over there or prize threads, but I think I'm going to change that up in a little bit, so I'll tell you about that more later. I've mentioned that you can email me, I think, because I started this a couple of times, so I don't know if I did it already. Email is dschultz46@gmail.com. Drop me a line anytime or PM me on Ravelry. If I'm not friends with you on there, you'll find me as Knitting Den and shoot me a PM anytime you want. I do first of all want to say a huge thank you to everyone that commented last week, you know, first episode back in a long time. Commented, sent me personal messages, left messages on the YouTube videos, which I had a bit of a problem uploading. And I don't know if I'm going to have another problem this week. I'm going to try some new software, or editing software kind of thing. But for some reason, I don't know whose problem it was. I don't know if it was YouTube, because it wouldn't accept it. It kept saying my password is invalid. I was trying to upload using the Windows Movie Maker that I always use, and it wouldn't let me. So when I went to, the way I got around it is I went to my YouTube channel, which shows me as signed in, and I uploaded from there and uploaded files from my computer, but of course they couldn't be too big. I can upload larger episodes, like more than a 15-minute video, but the hour-long video I had, or hour and 20 minutes or whatever, was taking about 2 hours to upload, and eventually it would just stop and say upload failed. So I had to break it down kind of 30-minute chunks, which worked. And I finally got them up there, but they're in three different videos kind of thing. That's the only way I could do it. I'm hoping I don't have that kind of problem this week. So, here we are. And if she starts barking out there because the dog just barked over at the other side, which was not my dog, I'll have you know. We'll see. She's quiet right now. So yeah, I'm going to move straight into, let's see. I've written all this down, but I kind of don't know whether I'll do it in order. We have had Thanksgiving here last week, which I was going to chat about in Girly Chatter, so I'll leave that alone for now and mention the problems I've just had uploading. Mentioned that. I do still have the two bags that you ladies won, Shelley and Kathy Ann. I will be getting them out this week because of Thanksgiving last week, and it was Kristen's birthday. I kind of, life happens as it usually does, and I haven't got the bags out to you yet, but I'm working on that, so please be patient. And Shelley, it might be a little bit longer for you because you're in England, so I will try my best to get them out in the next couple of days for you, though, ladies. Now, I did mention I was going to start giving a bag away every month, a Kiki Boo bag. And what I've decided to do, so I'm going to read it down here because I was writing it down and it made sense. I'm going to start giving another bag, a monthly bag, in January. And there's not going to be any special thread to leave a comment in. What I'm going to do is just look at, I'm going to pull a name from the weekly threads for the episodes. So at the end of January, there should be, say, 4 episodes, or even if there's only 2 or 3, because, again, as life happens, maybe I only recorded twice or 3 times. So from those 3 episodes, if you have left a comment in those threads, you're going to be eligible for a drawing for the Kiki Boo bag. If you've left a comment in every episode, then you'll, if it's 2 or 3 or 4, you'll be entitled to 4 entries. The maximum, just 1 entry per week. If this is making sense, I hope it's making sense. So really, you just need to pop into the thread after each episode that you've watched, make a comment. That way you've got some, I'm not asking a specific question all the time. It's up to you. You can just leave a comment on something I've talked about, or you could say, look, I love your shawl, or just say hi, anything like that. I'm not going to ask specific questions, like in a normal prize thread. I hope that makes sense. I'll try and explain it each week throughout December as well. And in December, I might do a drawing for something. I just don't know what yet. It'll not be the bag because I'm trying to get on top of things and sew the bags. It might be a little goodie bag. I'm thinking of putting something together, like a small notions pouch, or with stitch markers or other goodies, Christmassy stuff. I'm thinking of doing that, and maybe I'll pull that the week of Christmas, or just before Christmas Eve. I don't know, so you don't know yet, and it'll just be a surprise when I do it. Excuse me. Now, when I do pull prizes, if I say your name, you have 1 month until the next prize drawing to claim that prize. If you don't get in touch with me, I'm going to have to assume you didn't watch the podcast all month, and I'd like that bag to go to somebody else that does watch the podcast and has seen that they've won. So if you hear somebody's name and they're your friend, by all means, shoot them a message and say, hey, you might want to watch Knitting Den's podcast, or tell them outright, hey, you won a bag on Knitting Den's podcast. It's up to you. But I'm not contacting you guys. I just get behind on so many things so often. It's just one more thing I would probably get behind on. So I'll leave it to you. If you have your name drawn, you get in touch with me. Balls in your court, so to speak. All right, moving on. Let's talk. We've waffled on for 10 minutes about nothing already. Let's get into finished objects. Now, I don't have any finished objects from last week, but I forgot to show you a finished object last week that I'd finished, and actually I think I'd cast on during the months that I wasn't podcasting. So you didn't even know it was on the needles unless you check out my Ravelry page or you see me posting on Instagram sometimes. So I wanted to show you. Oh, and I might have to heat that up in a minute because I just don't like my coffee going cold. I got a shawl here, and I wrote it down because I didn't have the bag or anything now with the labels and stuff in because it's finished. But I have, where's the information? This I've done, this shawl here, let me hold it so you can see, is called Cladonia. That's how I pronounce it, by Kristen, no, not Kristen, that's my daughter, by Kirsten Kapoor. And I love the edging on this. This was a gift, a patent gift, sent to me by Nuala, who is Nuala Bula, who, hi sweetie, if you're watching this, I did just get a message from you this morning, which was really thoughtful, and I need to get back to you because that just really made me smile, and it was so lovely to hear from you. But so, this was a gorgeous pattern. I finally got it on the needles. I would like to try and knit this year a lot of the patterns I've been gifted over the past few years. This is one of them. And I guess, you know, once I get to wearing it, I haven't even had it on yet. I would probably just put it around like this under coats. This is usually how we wear all of these things. You can see the lace. So the yarn I've used, I actually bought, it was in my stash, and I used it for, I did buy it for, I should say, and my hair's all staticky today, so dry here. I bought this for a different pattern. It was a different shawl pattern, but I never got round to knitting it, so I've used it. I love the edging. So the yarn I'm using is this coloured part, which you can see is mixy. The cream in between is actually this cream, so you have to, you know, you're striping it yourself. 2 rows of a pattern, coloured yarn, 2 rows of the contrast or whatever. The stripe, I can't get my words out. The coloured yarn here is Barocco. I say a Boboli, B-O-B-O-L-I, Boboli lace. I don't understand why it's called lace, because it is actually a sport weight yarn. It is 42% wool, and see, I've written all this down because I don't have the ball band with me. 42% wool, 35% acrylic, and I'll lift that back up again so you can see my little candy canes, and a 23% rayon viscose. As I said, sport weight. And then the cream coloured is from Classic Elite Yarns. It's called Cannon. I found this hard to find on Ravelry, but it's under Mountain Top Canyon, and it's a Pima cotton. Again, it's sport weight, so it went well. It's the same weight, and it all looked good together. That is an 85% cotton and a 15% alpaca in it. Drinking game. Every time Denise mentions alpaca, we have to have a drink. I remember doing that before. Kept going on about I don't like alpaca, it makes me itch, and every time I seemed to show a project or cast on something, it had alpaca in it. I don't know why. This has a little bit of alpaca in it, but it's not too scratchy, and I like it. I think it kind of feels more like, I don't know why, fall. I would wear it any time, but I just get this fall, with the, see if I can zoom in, like the golden colours, the oranges and the greens all blending. It reminds me of fall. But anyway, that is a finished object. I'll leave it on for a minute because it's not looking too bad and I'm not too hot. And I have, moving on, it's not a finished object, but it's not a work in progress, but it kind of is. But it's not on the needles. So what is it? I've decided to call it nearly done. Hold on. I have a nearly done, and I mentioned it last week, but I didn't have it right next to me. And I have it right now, and in my lovely, oh, how Christmassy are we looking? This is my lovely bag from Keir, from the Bakery Bears, that she gifted to me. I love the inside of that. I just love this bag. She gifted me that when she first started making bags a few years ago. All right, so I had the snowflake hat, and have I got a picture? Yeah, well, this is the Susan B. Anderson pattern, and it's got two versions. The one that's part of my printed out page here is the normal version with just a ribbed brim. So I had the snowflake pattern. It is a paid for pattern, so I'm putting that away. But, you know, there's lots of snowflakes similar to that online. I've knit snowflakes before. Anyway, it's off the needles. I did the split back, and I haven't woven any. Actually, I have woven these in, but I haven't blocked it. I want to block it to relax the, you know, the Fair Isle. And I did the split back because I always wanted to cover my ears. Now, I'm not going to try it on today because when I said it's nearly done because it needs a pom-pom, and I do want the braids to come down because it's as it shows in the pattern. And again, it needs the blocking so that it's not as tight on my head. It does fit, but it's just quite snug. Little Missy Moo is going to want to come in. So I will try that on next time. But you can see the rib on this one, as opposed to the normal rib on the other hat, the other style, is lovely cable. And let me just let Missy Moo in. Hold on. All right, that was a good excuse to go heat up my coffee, letting little Missy Moo in there. Sitting on top of the sofa now. So, nearly done. Not quite. I'll put my coffee down. Oh, and I didn't say Morocco Vintage is just what I used. It was the blue I had in stash and a cream coloured. Not white. It's like an off-white, winter white. So that will be done by next week, and I will model it for you. Moving into works in progress. Really, what have I got? I've got the same things. It's just the socks. I did cast on the shawl with the Manos was it Fino? It was the Aisling, or somebody said they pronounced it Ashling shawl, but I only did 4 rows, so I didn't bring it with me. I didn't put it down in here. So I was working on the 2 socks. I did cast on something new, but we'll get to that in a second. So in my little Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh bag, one of my earliest ones, and I still love it. And I kind of prefer the silky ribbon now. I'm preferring that, because it helps to just pull that. It's not stiff at all. It slides and closes your drawstring bags really well. So, not much more on this, to be honest. I've turned the heel. I'm following the Hermione's Everyday pattern, trying to follow this to a T, but I did mess up on the actual pattern. This looks tiny, this sock, but it does actually fit. And it's the same 64 stitches, and it's the same a US one that I always use. I don't know why it looks small. I don't know if it's this, it might be the pattern pulling it in, you know, with the pearls, a bit like cable does, pulls that in. So I've turned the heel, the eye of partridge, or what she calls it, because it's got this little, not adapted. But anyway, I keep working on that when I'm watching the TV. Not really much else not much different. I'm using this Miss Potter colourway from Desert Vista Dye Works, her sock yarn that I won in her monthly competition, which I mentioned last episode. So that is just easy knitting. I'm using my ChowGoos, which I mentioned last time as well, so I won't go into all of the CM information, but I am really loving them. And then the other socks that I've got, and I'm trying to make progress on because I would like these to be a Christmas present for hubby. And I'm not doing a ton of Christmas presents, but I am doing a pair of socks, and I actually wrote this down. I was just doing 2 at a time, vanilla socks, okay, and the yarn is this, I was calling it Yarwoll, but if that's German and you would pronounce the W like a V, then that would say Jawohl. And that Jawohl in German, I think, is just like yes, yes sir, ja is ja, yes, ja, Jawohl. I think it's like yes sir. Anyway, I'm kind of pronouncing it Jawohl now. And that's the yarn from my friend, gifted from my friend Michelle. Again, the lighting is not great. That's kind of brown. It looks, sometimes it looks a bit like maroon coloured. There's maroony brown and blues and greys. Very manly, so I think they're going to be for hubby. And the second sock, I did split them. I did cast on 2 at a time. But I do find that I like both of them on the needles, but I do like to work on 1 at a time. I'm just kind of alternating. So I'm past the heel on this one. I've just turned the heel. Haven't picked up the gusset stitches yet. And again, I see I don't knit these when hubby's around because I think he might have an idea looking at them that they would be for him. Now, thank you to Megan, Katie and Vonnie, who mentioned, and I think, forgive me if I did forget anybody else's names, but I did notice that you mentioned, and thank you for that, because kind of, it should have been obvious, but it wasn't. This little thing that came with the yarn is to reinforce the heel. So right now I'm going to stop it now because obviously I don't want it going around the top of the foot. But I was knitting with both to reinforce the heel and the, turning the heel in on the bottom. So that's a little bit thicker, and then I will use it again when I do the toe. It's the first time I've ever done a reinforced heel, and to be honest, I really should do that with all my socks. So, as I said, I wander around the house with them, and I have had some that's got holes in already. So, and I'm going to, if you excuse me, I'm going to take that off now because I'm getting a little bit hot. I did heat up my coffee and I put it down, and even though I'm hot, I'm going to drink it. Oh, it smells so good. So that's the other sock. Again, it seems a bit boring knitting, but it's great right now because all I do in the evening, I can knit on plain socks or slightly patterned socks, and I'm watching all the Hallmark Christmas movies, and I love it. I did want to watch my DVDs. Yesterday I wanted to put in The Christmas Carol or Elf, and I can't find my DVDs now because I've been clearing out my closet and then I forget where I put stuff. So I've been watching Hallmark movies and knitting kind of plain-ish socks. So that's the other work in progress. Now, the next work in progress, new on the needles this past week, only because I was dying to see what it knit up like. Now, before I go on, because I did write down that, I mentioned that it's just a vanilla sock I was doing, but I'm going to be following the pattern for the heel and everything because it's 72 stitches. I just didn't do the texture on the leg, but I decided I'm using a free pattern on Ravelry. It's called Petty Harbour by Raina Curtis, and I think if I don't put it up here, it'll be on my Ravelry page because I've linked to that pattern now, I think. Hang on, let me sit up. So, the last thing, where's it gone? This could be part of show and tell, so we'll jump into show and tell as well. Last week, I think since I've recorded, I don't think I showed you this, and if I did, I might have to just totally chop this out. I can't remember. We went to the star lighting ceremony in our town the Saturday before Thanksgiving. And so it might have been just after I recorded, actually. I did show you last episode that I'd started to try some dyeing, yarn dyeing. And I dyed some yarn. I dyed a proper whole skein or a couple of skeins. This is one of the colours. And I didn't have a name at the time until I went to the star lighting ceremony in town, and I just so happened to take a picture of the Castle Rock. It's a big rock. It's called Castle Rock, and it's the town I live in. And it was just as the sun was kind of going down, so it was shining on the Castle Rock, not the castle. And when I got home, when I actually took the picture as well, I thought, geez, that looks very similar. And I dyed this the day before. And it's hard to get the colour. It's kind of true to colour there. It's just a lovely golden colour. I wasn't sure what I was going to call it. But if I can, I'm going to try and insert the picture that I put on Instagram, where I had the picture of the Castle Rock and then the picture of the yarn underneath, because it was amazing. Just the similarity, it looked like the exact same colour. It looked like the picture was my inspiration, but it just didn't. That's not what it was at all. It just fluke, whatever you want to call it. But I then decided that this was one of my first colourways I've done. Don't even know if I can repeat it exactly, but I love it, and I decided to call it Castle Rock. So I also, and here it is, I've split it, but I also did some a yarn with some different colours in it, including this colour, and it came out really well, and it was this. I'm so pleased with that. That was my very first 4 skeins, and I loved it. So what I did was I had to wind them up, and then I put it into a cake, but I split it. And the reason I split it was because I thought, I've seen this somewhere before, I was going to try and knit socks, ankle socks, and then just use some of this as the toe and the heel. But then I realised the first 2 skeins I'd tried to dye were on a merino silk blend. There's a superwash merino and silk blend. And I wouldn't do this for socks. It's got to have nylon in for me. So I thought, oh, I better do a shawl with it. So that's why I've cast on a shawl. And I'm thinking I'll still cake this up, because this shawl, believe it or not, maybe you're going to laugh at this. This is my 4th shawl, and it's the Nirma Lintu. Remember the Nirma Lintu that I always talk about. I love that pattern. It's free on Ravelry. I do not have it printed out, but I had to cast on because I wanted to see what this knit up like. And so far, again, I'm really happy with that. I think it's just lovely. It's lovely colours. Don't know how to explain the blues. So what I thought I would do, and again, the lighting is not great at all. Once I get to the lacy part, I think I'm going to do the whole lace part in this, and then for the garter stitch again, do this pattern. That's what I had in mind. So really, it wasn't necessary to split them. But I don't know. I don't know if I'll have to go into this one to finish off the shawl. I definitely think I'll wind this on and use it. And then I can use it in do something similar, do other colours with this in between, and either do another Nirma Lintu or another similar pattern and put it in my gift box, because, I don't know, that's why I started trying to do the dyeing. I'd like to put hand-dyed yarn in my gift box too, to send to friends, my knitty friends and things like that. We'll see. But that was fun, and again, super easy garter stitch knitting, just increasing on the ends. So that's great TV knitting. I couldn't stop looking at this. I'm rather proud of myself. Can I be proud of myself? I love it. So that's kind of show and tell. And saying that, I think I'm going to show you the rest of the yarn rather than mention it in shop news or shop updates. Because I'm enjoying dyeing, and I've got a, well, I'd like to give some of this away, you know, as gifts and things, but I think I would like to add it to my Etsy shop with bags, and not necessarily matching colours yet. Still trying to work out, I'm not very good at that, but coming up with just colour combinations on my own without trying to match it to my bags of fabric is a lot easier. So I did some dyeing this past week, and I was going to show you them. Sorry, that was a bit slurpy. And so I thought I would put it in the show and tell section. Now I had some inspiration for some, and I came up with this idea. And again, I think this is where I'm gonna be working on for January. I had this idea where I wanted to do a theme for some of the yarns, and the theme I came up with, which was exciting, and if I just lean forward I'll be able to grab this book that was kind of inspirational. But I came up with the theme, and then I remembered I have this book on my shelf. I'm thinking of doing the Pudding Club colourways, just some of them. And it was because of this book. And I know, I think I showed you this book last year sometime, and I sent a copy of this to my sweet friend Michelle, because we were just so into puddings and English puddings, and we made a Christmas pudding. So again, because I'm not very good. I know Michelle could do this, but she's always got so many other colourways that she's working on. I can't really take a picture and make all of the, you know, match all of the colours. But I had in my mind before I even looked at that book that I wanted to do a colourway with browns in it, and I wanted to call my first pudding colourway one of my favourite puddings, which was Sticky Toffee Pudding. And this is what I came up with. And I actually did two. And I've rewound them or reskeined them so that all of the browns blend. So it's like caramel and a darker coloured brown. And this is on a sock base, so it would look nice on shawls, I think, for the autumn, but again, maybe it's manly socks, or I don't know. I loved it. It came out really well, and that's lighting that part up a little bit more than it actually is. It's darker. It's like toffee colours and caramel, you know, darker caramel colours. So that's the first colourway, and I'm calling that Sticky Toffee Pudding, and I might hopefully be able to recreate it. And then I also did one, it's very similar to this, but I've done it on a worsted weight, and it is a lot deeper colour, as you can see. And it's not orange, it is very golden, I was going to say brown, golden, very gold looking colour. And I've decided if I can do this on the sock base as well, this is going to be, I wonder if it's better colour that way when that light's not shining on it. This is going to be my treacle pudding colourway. And the treacle in England is syrup, it's golden syrup. That's why we don't get treacle here. But golden syrup and the treacle pudding that we can get, that you know, I'm not sure if it's even in this book, one of the steamed puddings. But anyway, that was the other colourway that jumped to mind. So I've got Sticky Toffee Pudding, Treacle Pudding, and this one is probably a one-off because, and I called it because it didn't, I was going to just do a chocolate pudding, but it's got all different browns again. It's not caramelly, it's just lighter browns. You see the difference? This is more caramel. This is just different browns, darker, lighter, softer muted browns. I did do two, and so it is slightly, this has got caramelly and the brown, but completely different to Sticky Toffee Pudding, as you can see. and I decided to call this figgy pudding. And figgy pudding, obviously, it's a bit like Christmas pudding. It's very dark, but it's, instead of lots of different fruits in our Christmas puddings, it was made with figs. I've never made one. It's very Charles Dickensy kind of, you know, Christmassy, old-fashioned when I think about it, figgy pudding. We don't really make it anymore, but I think it was very similar to Christmas pudding. But because of it being dark browns as opposed to caramel, I've called him figgy pudding. So that was another pudding. I have some other, I do want to try and do a spotted dick. I've been working on that. And for those who don't know it, there it is. It's just a cream coloured sponge, and it's got brown dots around it, which are currants or raisins, I should say, in the pudding. But I'm going to want to try and recreate that and have a spotty dick, as we called it, colourway. I don't know. I'm going to work on it. So that's why I was thinking January is going to be, I'll see how I'm at and whether or not I'll be putting pudding colourways into my Etsy shop. Still working on it. And then, of course, I've got the other one that I think I would do is a jam roly-poly. And that is another cream, custardy looking pudding with the raspberry, you know, it looks like a swirl, the way we made it. And I'd have to show you, because I didn't look in here. It's kind of, it's going to look a bit like that, but not this shape. But, you know, it's like our jam roly-poly was like a log, but it had the jam rolled into it. Not so much a dome pudding. Anyway, I feel like I'm waffling, but I was thinking of doing that. There is another colourway. I don't know if I wrote them all down. Oh yeah, so there's a jam roly-poly, which has got a bit of raspberry in and the cream coloured. But then there is going to be another one, which is all reds, berry colours like blackberry and raspberry and strawberries and blueberries, and it's a summer pudding. And I think there's a picture in here, which is slightly. I wonder if I've got. Oh, look at that! I just saw that. I just saw a recipe for mincemeat. Where's it gone? Mincemeat roly-poly, and I just bought some mincemeat at the World Market the other day. Sorry, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I do apologise, but I know some of you out there do know what I'm talking about with the mincemeat for the mince pies at Christmas time. It's the sweet mince. Anyway, I was going to see, I'm sure we have in here, and I don't know if there's an index which would be easier to look at, and I can't see it. There is a summer pudding picture in here, I know there is. And there's also, at some point, it's not a pudding, but it's typically English. It's one of my favourite desserts. I think I will try to do a trifle colourway. Can't find the summer pudding. Sorry. Well, I can't find all of the pictures, so I will just leave that there. Moving on to another couple of colourways that I don't necessarily have names for, although I do have a name for this. But again, this was just kind of experimenting. I've loved playing around with them. I don't know if I'll recreate them or if it's just a one-off thing. I did them both at the same time, but one has a lot less white left in it. This is, you know, blue, green, pink, yellow, and it all blended in. And this was the same, but I did leave a lot of the natural colour. But I liked them both, and I was going to call this, and again, I don't know if I will try and recreate them, but I do like the colours together, so maybe I will. When I looked at these, it just came to mind, and I thought of Colour Me Happy. It just made me happy. The colours in this make me happy. So this is a Colour Me Happy. I kind of like thinking of names and what to call them, but I'm not always, you know, that creative with the names and I can't think of them. I don't have a name for this yet. Maybe you can name it for me. This one is, again, kind of manly. It's got the browns, aqua blue, and some grey in it, and then a little bit of speckling kind of thing going on with the greys. So, I haven't named that yet. I was thinking cobble streets, but I don't know, the cobble streets don't really have the aqua blue in it. So if you're good, that's Bindi snoring. If you are any good with deciding on a name, let me know. And again, I don't know if I can recreate it. I just like the colourway and this is the fingering, just the merino nylon, superwash merino nylon blend. It's super soft, so that would be great for the socks. And the last two I was just playing around with. I was dyeing some little minis on, this is on just a wool, this is just 100% Highland wool. Tried to do autumnal ones. I'm not keen on that green though. It looks, it's just not it's not the kind of green. That's a bit better, like a browny green. But I was playing around with autumnal colours, and then I was playing around with some, excuse me, pink, with a soft green. So I haven't named these yet. As I said, I was just playing around with colours, but I'm just really enjoying it. So that's all my show and tell. You know, they're not all going into my stash, but I just feel as if I've just gone and bought a big, you know, a big hoard of new yarn for my shelves, but it's not, because I'll probably be sending gifts off and things like that. All right, where are we at? Book talk. Where's the other book? Oh, let me just get the other book I was going to show you. I've got some books to show you. And I will put all of these back before and I will pause that. Book talk this week. I went to the library this past week and picked up a couple of cute books. I wanted to start reading this one, and I haven't finished reading The Nightingale, and I actually haven't picked it up since last week, so I need to pick that up because I also want to start reading, and that is as of tomorrow. I do want to start reading The Christmas Carol. So what I think I'll do with The Christmas Carol is look at the book I've got, see how many pages, divide it by the 24, and read that many pages a day so that I finish reading it on Christmas Eve. And if you, oh, excuse me. Oh, dry. If you want to read along or you're going to read it, do let me know. It'll be fun. But Snow Angel's Secrets and Christmas Cake by Sue Watson. I think these are, there's a few other ones, British authors, and I can't get many of them over here. She has a lot of fun, easy reads, especially Christmas stories. I can see them on Amazon, but my library doesn't have that many in. In fact, I think this is the only one of hers they have in. But I wanted to read that. And the other thing I got out of the library, and I've put it on my Amazon wishlist because I really like this book, and it's going to take a lot of reading, very interesting reading for me, I should say. I got this out of the library. It's called Natural Beauty. And the reason I got this out of the library is I'm going to start making lotion bars because my hands are so dry. I had a lotion bar once. I got now what was it called? Lolo bar? A Lolo, I think it was Lolo bar is the brand. I got one, I won one years ago from Blooming Knitter, Tina. And then after I'd used it, I really liked it. I bought another one. Now I know you can get them, there's tons of you can get, and there's Etsy's got lots of sellers selling them, handmade lotion bars, you know, with natural ingredients and all that. So I wanted to make my own, like, you know, why not? Crafty people do that. And I saw this in the library and I thought, oh, I'd like to look at other stuff. So again, like I said in last week in Book Talk, I'm going to show you, it's not reviews, but I'll show you some inside pictures. And what I loved about this book, if I can stop it from crinkling, is the introduction. It just looks so interesting to read. So there's lots to read, and then there's lots of interesting facts. There's stuff to read about the skin, and let's see where it was. Oh, this is where I wanted. No, that wasn't it. It tells you all about ingredients and that. So, kind of ingredients you use, the natural ingredients, and what they do for your skin. There's just, look at it, there's just so much interesting, informative information about all this. Chamomile, calendula, all of these things that, and you know, the beeswax, not to mention, see there's like a lotion bar because you use the beeswax in it. Not just the fact that it's got tons of lovely pictures in it, and lavender, one of my favourite scents. It tells you, you know, what it's good for, why it's good for you, and especially like why it's good for your skin. This just goes on for ages. Uplifting citrus. It's just so interesting, and I've not even had a chance to sit down and read it. And then, of course, what I liked once we get past all of the information on it is the recipes to make your own lotion bars, cleansers, toners. So I've put this on my Christmas wish list on Amazon because it's gonna take me months to read. Soothing face cream, beauty balms, all of it. So if you're interested in things like that, and then right at the end, you know, other than I want to make the moisturizer for my hands, but there's body scrubs, there's bath bombs, which I did get in. Did get the moles and that. Kristen and I, my daughter, we're going to do some bath bombs. And when I was in England, when we went to London, I actually went into one of the large Lush shops. If you don't know what Lush is, it's like a bath and body kind of shop with all natural ingredients for bath bombs and all those kind of things. And down here where it shows you making them, they had a little demonstration when we were there, and we got to take part, and they let the kids or anybody that wanted to sit there, they showed you the mixture and what they'd put in it, and then they gave you a little plastic mould, and you got to fill it and squeeze it together and make the bath bomb, the ball. And then you took it out, they put in a brown paper bag for you and a little label, and you got to bring it home as a free bath bomb. So we did that, and it was really fun. And then, of course, I've got, it goes right to the back of the boot, we've got things for hair. And again, I find everything in Colorado here is very dry, so I have put avocado and mushed up stuff on my hair before, coconut oil, and it does help, but I just never did it on a regular basis. And this book, it was really nice. And then at the end, hands and feet even. Banana foot treatment. I mean, seriously, I've never thought of putting bananas on my feet. But I might have to try it, and I'll tell you what it's like. So that was, it's from the library right now, but I'm hoping that Santa Claus brings me my own copy so I can keep it and read, you know, I feel like I want to read it from back to front to take my time. The other two in Book Talk, I've made knitted three of these little toys, and I can't find them. I know they're somewhere, and I might have them by next week. I got this out the library. Again, I was thinking of putting it on my wish list and getting it, but I don't know. I can just probably get this out the library each time I want to knit some. So I've knit the Little Mermaid. I knit him a few months ago, And I knit the first one I knit, which is what got me started, was the chicken. I've knit the little chicken guy as well, which is super cute. So this is Mochi Mochi, I think I call it. There's a couple of by Hannah. I want to say, what's she called? Hannah. Oh my goodness. Ratchavek? Ratchavek? Do you not pronounce the H? She's the one on Ravelry that's got the majority of the little Mochi Mochi knitted amigurumi things. I got both of them out. I've had this out before, and I got it out because I do want to make some more little guys. Even if they were just used as, not necessarily to hang on a tree, but like for when you send in gifts, you know, you could tie it onto the gift as a little gift tag thing. I think it would be, they're just all super cute. I mean, oops, sorry, things like from little cavemen to cupcakes, edibles and pears. Look at, he's so cute. I think I fancy doing the little hot dog next. So I got that out. The three I knit, and I've got lots of different colours in it. I was using the Knit Picks palette, got lots of different colours in that. Move that over there. So I think I'll use that. And then this one, I wanted to get, oh, this is so cute. This was her Mochi Mochi Land, and it's, they are all so cute. Look at the shells and the dolphins. It's kind of telling a story. And I haven't read it yet, but I think it'd be interesting. So I don't know if it's different stories. This is The Hungry Donut. It all started in Ovenston, a suburb of Sweet City. So there's a little story goes along with all of the characters, I think. There's little hats. One day, he's the baker. It hit her that she would invent the ultimate donut. I think it'll be a fun read. I haven't read through this yet. So I don't know if it's different stories. Let me just flick through, because it then moves on to the sea, like I just saw. So I don't know if I want to get to the end of this. Look, there's all these little chefs, and they're cute. I think you could get quite addicted to knitting. Oh, look at the little scuba diver guy. I think you could get addicted to these. So yes, here's another story, The Underwater Election. And then that's why it's got those. It tells you a story. Octopus. There was an octopus goalie headbutted the puffer fish. That's cute. Treasure chest. I was tressed. Treasure chest. Can't even say that. Oh, this. I hadn't even noticed this one yet. I hadn't even flicked through, but I like that. Oh, there's the little mermaids there. That's in the other Mochi Mochi book. And then you've got all these other little undersea world. And what else is there? The Light-Hearted Lovers. That's the next story. It's a bit like what's on the back here. So you've got the circus tents to knit, and the little teddies, the balloons. There's an elephant there. Clouds. If you got this book and you've done anything, if you've knit from it, do share pictures. And let's see, was there anything else? Oh yeah, and so then, so that's the end. Now that you've heard my incredible stories, maybe you think I'm the one who's full of gas. Oh, I don't know if this little guy's the one telling the story. Well, if you say I'm lying, then I challenge you to knit the characters yourself and see what strange adventures happen. Just turn the page to get started. And so then you've got the patterns, obviously, at the end of the book. So that's super cute. It's got the stories and the pictures. So, again, this was checked out in my library. I like the idea of putting this one on my list. So I've got time to read it. Then this one, which is just like all patterns. It's not the stories there. So this is, it's like one step more. She's gone into the stories. It's just really, really good imagination and great pictures. I just love them little chefs. Says, if that story whetted your appetite for mochi wackiness, just wait until you hear about the time the sea creatures held their first election. Who knew that fish could engage in political discourse? And so that's why it went into the, where was it? Yeah, then it went into the fishy story. So I might actually add that to my list of books that I want on my shelf. All right, if you're still with me, and we're not waffling on too much, but I'm sure we are, let's move into, I was going to say other crafts, but that was the dyeing, which I've showed you all in the show and tell. So I mentioned those. And as I said, I mentioned that the pudding club might be my first colourways, and I'm thinking about doing a club. It's just something I'm thinking of, toying with the idea, having sign-ups for perhaps a 3-month pudding club come January. It depends. If I do, it will be a very small amount. You know, it might only be like 6. If anyone's interested, I might open 6 slots up and let you sign up for a 3-month pudding club. It's just something I'm thinking about. With that said, I've got another. I did want to just go into something else I couldn't find this week, and that was Christmas ornaments I had brought from home from my mum's Christmas tree. Of course, so once my mum passed, you know, when my dad passed away many years ago, we didn't have to do what we did when my mum passed away, which was clear out the house and all of her belongings, etc., because she obviously was still there. So this year, when she passed in March, things had to be cleared out and given away. And one of the things that obviously we didn't want to toss away was some of the Christmas ornaments. And I got to bring quite a few of them home. The old ornaments that I used to hang on the tree when I was a kid. So I was going to just show you them. Seriously, I couldn't find this basket the other day. No, it was just sitting in my guest room. But my memory, I couldn't think where I'd put it. So these are old. Hey, that was just me. Very old glass. You know, the actual glass. I mean, they're all plastic now. And you can see how old and antique-y looking this one looks. A pink. It's just pink. And then there's this one. So I got to bring them home. One of my favourites, if I can find them, are these ones. And I just love them because I hung these on the tree every year with my dad. But there's some with the, you know, the actual insert. And I think there's another one like that. Here's, so I did find, I'm not going to put them on my main tree. I think I'm going to buy maybe it's a little real tree that you can get in the stores, you know, that's still in its little bucket. I think I might get one of those this week and hang all of these ones on. There's probably hand painted, glittery. And then there's another, oh no, that wasn't that. There is another one. Oh, I like this one with the actual teardrop shape. Bindi, you don't need to go out just yet. Hang on. I like that one as well. So you can kind of see that's the glass. Oops, you know, and how they've finished it off. That's the actual. And they must have blown glass, and then they painted them. So there's that. I'm sure there's another one that had. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe that's the only one with the hollowed out bit. There's another glass one. I'm so happy that I got them all home. I actually hand carried them in the bubble wrap, stuffed in 2 big fluffy socks in my hand luggage when I got on the plane. And amazingly, you know, on top of my purse, and obviously nothing else sat on them. So I was so happy I found them. I was telling my sister and my brother on the FaceTime the other day. I just couldn't remember where I'd put them. And I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've got about 10 here. 10 of them. Plus there is some ornaments on my tree from my family, which I think I'll transfer over to the special little tree. That's the same. I've got 2 of them actually. Matchy matchy. Ooh. So these have been in the family since I was a kid. We're talking over 40 years, probably even older. They might have been on the tree before I was even born. My sisters are 12 and 14 years older than me, so Mum and Dad might have had them even when they were kids. So I was very happy to be able to bring a lot of them home. I think, you know, the rest of the family just kind of picked one and kept it. So, moving on, I've got a bit of shop news. I've put on, thank you to everyone that did buy bags last week in my Black Friday sale on Etsy, my Kikiboo bag store. I did have a little competition on Instagram. I designed a new bag with, I asked what you thought might be inside. And it wasn't like a trick question. It wasn't like, it could have been anything, because some people were like, oh, it's a new project, or it's with some Jaffa cakes or Kit Kats in it. And I didn't even think of things like that, but they all sounded good to me. What I was getting at was I'd kind of designed, and I've kept one myself here. This is the one that I've made myself. The one I was given away, I said, if you guessed what was in it, you can have it. And I sent it off this week. But I made another one. This is smaller. I did like the one that I gave away. It's a little bit wider. But it was for my circulars. And I've got 2 full sets, I think, of my circulars in here. I've put them on both sides. The one I gave away, I just put the on one side, excuse me, I had just sewn one side of the bag to put your needles in, and then in the middle I just put all of these, you know, the circular needles, excuse me. But, so I made this one I'm keeping. I've got to try and get some more in the shop. I'm doing a shop update. I had said on my shop announcement page that it was going to be tomorrow, but I might have to change that because I'm running out of time. I haven't got all my bags finished. So it might be, I might pick a weekend day. I might say the updates happen at the weekend, or happens Monday and I get everything finished by the weekend. Again, it's all about organising myself, but I do enjoy sewing, so I do want to carry on doing them and putting them in the shop. And I just haven't had time to sew some of the needle cases that I was wanting to do. I did sew this one, but right now I've just shoved everything else in here. These are the ones that are still in my packets, you know, which is still a nice place to keep them. And then I've got my 16-inch circulars in here as well right now. But ideally, I would like to do a wider bag that's got all of the needles in, and I can actually also put the ones that's in packets sideways, because these are barely fit like that. But I was working on them, just trying to do different sizes really, and again this was just not the right size. And it does have, I did put these in here, but again just on the one side, so a little bit of a prototype, but I've kept them because it's, at least I know now where all of my circulars are. So I do have, sorry I keep kicking the camera, I do have other bags going in the shop, and I've got some new fabric that I was sewing with yesterday. That was fun. So check out the shop in the next few days. There'll be some new, I've got some lovely llama fabric, and for my friends who enjoy a nice little cocktail around this time of the year, you might want to check out the cocktail fabric that I will be putting in there. And some of the fabric's got the recipes on, so if you fancy a Cosmo or a Mojito, you might want that bag because it's got the recipe on for you. Alright, lastly, and I've kind of done that out of order, I was going to jump into girly chatter, but I think, I chat on enough. I don't know whether I need a girly chatter section. What do you think? I was just going to mention, as I said, it was Thanksgiving last week, and the day after that, on Friday, our sweet little girl, who's not so little anymore, turned 16. And so it was just a quiet day for us, you know, open prezzies, and of course she's homeschooled now, so, but the school was closed anyway. Her friends are off school because of Thanksgiving. So we had Thanksgiving, and I made a nice little dinner as usual with, I didn't do a ton of it this year because normally I end up with like 5 days leftovers, but I didn't. I kind of scaled it down and made smaller portions with our mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole, all the good fun stuff. And I've made with my leftovers. I don't know what you do with your leftovers. You know, mention that in the comments. Let me know in the episode thread if you want. I made my turkey and wild rice soup, which is one of my favourite soups. I made that with some of the turkey leftovers. And then the other day, I think I put a little picture on Instagram, I made turkey leftover sliders. So they're little buns, little bread rolls, with turkey and cranberry in, and there was a little bit of stuffing actually went on top, dressing, and then some cheese melted on instead of the gravy. Put some Swiss cheese on. You put them in the oven actually and heat everything up and bake it, and the cheese melts. They were super yummy. So I did those too. So that was what went on, and it got me thinking. I know Canada does Thanksgiving, but theirs is in the beginning of October, and I've often been asked if England celebrates Thanksgiving, and the answer to that is no, not really. Not in the same sense where everyone gathers like they do at Christmas and have Christmas dinner. Families don't get together at a certain day. We do have, which I don't know if it's where Canada stems from, because obviously America, their Thanksgiving way back in the beginning, 1800s and that, was because of the Pilgrims and the Indians getting together and, you know, sitting down and having giving thanks and exchanging things. I'm not going into detail. Didn't write it all down, and I'm not a great historian. But I do remember when I was a kid in school, and I was trying to Google this to see whether or not we still did it. At school years ago, we had what we called Harvest Festival, and that is originally what Thanksgiving, I think, was called here in the States. But back then, or back in school, all we did was nothing ever at home. We would take in fruit and vegetables to school, or churches would gather the fruit and veg from the harvest, and then we would take in canned food, you know, like to give to homeless shelters or other charities and things. So we would gather stuff like that up. And I always remember the display that we had in school, and I think they have in churches. Somebody had always done this big, well, it was not big, it was a bread, I don't know what to call it. It was just a flat bread, but it was in the shape of wheat. And then it had this braid around. I'm going to try and insert a picture so you know what I'm talking about. So I always remember seeing that displayed around all the fruits and veg and things like that. But other than that, we don't. It would be nice if we did, but we don't have a holiday or a day off where families gather for that particular reason, to give thanks and, you know, things like that. And as I've mentioned before to people, you know, when I first came over to the States, to explain Thanksgiving to family or friends back home, it was like the easiest things to say was, it's like Christmas, but without the presents. So it was a nice big family dinner, turkey, same kind of things, turkey and cranberry sauce and all of that. But you just didn't give out presents, you were giving thanks. It wasn't all about gifts, you know, receiving and all that. In saying that, for Kristen, Thanksgiving is kind of like Christmas, but with the presents as well, because it's her birthday that week, or sometimes that same day. So, you know, she gets, it's kind of like having two Christmas. All right, I think I might be filling up the camera, so I'm going to just chop that off, close it for now, and not waffle on anymore. I will say goodbye before this jumps off again. Try and get this edited and uploaded, and hope you've enjoyed sitting down with me and letting me waffle on. I'm hoping to try and do this weekly, but you know, the days go so fast. I'll try and do it as soon as I can each week. Sometimes it might spill over into that second week. But thanks again for joining me, and thanks for coming back time and time again, letting me sit and chat with you and show you what I'm doing. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you, if you have, take the time to jump into the Ravelry group and leave a message. Say hi to everyone and to me, and I hope you do come back soon and join me here in the Knitting Den. Bye guys.